Hello, everybody. How are you doing? This is Lance Tomashiro. I'm really glad that you made it here today because what Robert's going to share with you is something that, well, if you're not doing it, you should be. And if you are doing it, you should be doing it this way. And, you know, one of the things that I really thought about a lot this week and why I believe that today's training is going to be so important for you specifically is that one of the biggest problems that many of us have when we come online, and let's face it, it's that we're not famous. And what I mean by that is we do all of the things that people tell us. We find a niche, we make a great product, we have something that works, but then the real problem becomes nobody pays attention to us, nobody knows our product is out there, and it doesn't matter how good it is. We're constantly competing with bigger names, people that are already out there, people that are established, and it really feels like this, well, uphill battle that you're never going to get to the top of the hill from. There are a couple of little shortcuts that you can take, one of which is, well, being found in the search engines, but more importantly, having a book. And not just a Kindle book, although a Kindle book is important, but having a real book. And once you have that, you'll find that all of a sudden, if somebody can look you up and find your book, if somebody can order your book, if you can walk somewhere and hand somebody a book, all of a sudden your credibility changes in whatever your niche is because, well, you're the person that wrote the book. And once you write the book, you're automatically looked at as an expert. And so many people miss out on this point and give up on their dream, and it's really sad because they have some great information that could really change people's lives. And I don't know if you're like me, but I hate writing. I hate the idea of putting together a book, and luckily what Robert's going to show you today doesn't involve any of that type of stuff. And so if you know where the question box is, make sure that you find it right now. This is live. This is interactive. We will get to your questions, whether directly or indirectly during the call, so feel free to ask them as you have them. And if you are ready and if everything is shut down, we're only asking for a good 57 minutes of your time in order to learn this amazing skill. I want you to type me in the question box because that's really what this is about. This is about you getting from where you are to where you want to be and becoming an authority in your niche. So it looks like everybody knows where that box is. It looks like everybody is excited and ready to go. Help me welcome Robert Plank.
Awesome. Super glad to be here, Mr. Lance Tomashiro. And, you know, as you were talking just now about, you know, this whole fighting with the famous people and trying to get from point A to point B and all this and that, I was just kind of thinking that, you know, we're all here because we don't fit in, right? We're all here because we want more stuff, and we're all here because in one way or another, we're entrepreneurs. And I was just thinking that, I mean, the best skill you can have as, you know, this person who's on whatever path you're on is to basically be able to turn the bad into the good. Because, I mean, if you think about, there's us and there's them, right? There's people who don't make it. There's people who kind of live like the zombie employee lifestyle, this and that, and they go in the opposite direction, right? They go from the good to the bad. They take something good, they have this potential, and they kind of squander, and they kind of like give up on their dreams. And what we want to do instead is to turn the bad into the good. Like, and whatever path took you here to this point right now where we're on this call, or maybe for you, you know, maybe you didn't like go to college, or maybe you didn't have the same chances as everyone else, or maybe you had some kind of knowledge and skills that then went out of date and you had to change the game and do something such as this whole thing of having an online internet business. And by the way, Lance, is my audio coming through okay? We have a couple people saying it's quiet.
I mean, I've got you about how it always is. It might be a little bit low, but you're there.
All right, I'll see if I can talk a little bit
Oh,
louder.
there
All
you
right.
go. Way better. Whatever you just did.
It's the thing on the headset. Okay. So all right. So we're all good here audio wise, and you know the thing too is if the audio is like a tiny bit quieter, does it even make a difference? Well, no, because the same information is gonna get through whether it's super duper loud or a little bit quiet. What's more important, I'd rather have like a crappy, scratchy, you know, record quality audio that has some good information, right? So we're gonna talk today about how to get a print book and a digital book with your name on it on this site. You might have heard of it, called Amazon.com, the biggest bookstore in the world, and do it not in a year, not in a month, not even, it doesn't even have to take a day. It can all be done in just 59 minutes. And so, as we're kind of getting started, first want to say, don't let someone who gave up on their dreams project onto you and talk you out of going after yours. Where you start is not as important as where you finish. You either believe that because 1% of the people are rich, that because there's 1% out there, that means anyone can get rich, or you can kind of poo-poo on that and believe that because only 1% are rich, that no one can get rich. And you know what else? Is if you have enemies, that's good, because that means that you've stood up for something at some time in your life. It's good to have enemies. It's good to have an opinion. It's good to have those people out there who, it's not, maybe you don't even like hate them or like, wish bad things on them, but people who conflict with you, people who you would never work with, people who I don't want to say you can't stand them, but they're doing things in the wrong way, and they might even be getting, more exposure than you, more attention than you. Good, because that's a good motivator. I mean, as long as it doesn't kind of turn into this, whirlpool of resentment, but as long as you say, well, someone else out there has gone in this path and done these things that I want to have, and they're not doing a very good job. I could be better. Now that's my driving force to go out there and be better. So I'm a little bit pissed off. Not so pissed off that I'm like throwing chairs or anything, but I'm pissed off at just a few of these marketers who, some of them, they'll say, well, I'm going to share all these split test results with you. I'm going to share all these case studies with you, and they say, well, we did this 10 million, this $20 million launch, and we put out a $27 product, and we did a $7 upsell, and we did a $1 downsell, and we did a $1 trial, and they'll draw out this whole map, this whole funnel, and everyone around will take all these notes, and I'll say, but this was just one time. Or they'll say, because we did this whole thing in the weight loss niche, we discovered that if we have a purple button with blue text on it, that converts the best. And I just say, well, that worked one time in that one scenario, and now you're saying that that's the only way things need to get done. And it kind of ticks off me and Lance, because we see this over and over, and people kind of flock to this like crack and take all these notes, and it actually hurts these people who could have put out a simple website, could have had a good business, but now they're so obsessed with having the purple and blue buy button, so obsessed with having the $27 and $7 products that they don't get to where they need to go. And then Lance and I face an uphill battle with people, with these marketers. And Lance and I kind of have a saying, we just say the word marketers, and we both understand kind of what we mean. And that means that, if Lance and I say we have this one product, and this one product did $200,000 in sales over a 2-year period, well, we don't really want to say that, because you know what else someone says? Someone else comes out and says, oh, that's nothing. I made $3 million last week. And you know what happens? Everyone listens to the big number, whether it's true or not. And over and over and over again, with a lot of these marketers, the ones who share quite a few numbers, the math never adds up. Right? They say, well, I just did a $2 million launch, and we sold 800 copies of this thing at $97. And we say, well, 800 times 97 is 80 grand. Where's the 2 million come from? And the numbers just never ever add up. They're either too big or too small by like a huge amount, and we just say, well, those are kind of marketers. So then there's like the other end of that, where there are these busybodies all around stuff like Facebook. And so if I go on Facebook and I put in something like, what's the best shopping cart? What's the best autoresponder? What's the best membership site that, like, a lot of you might have done when you're trying to figure out, well, how do I just fix this one problem? I heard it in the list. How do I get this thing called an autoresponder? And then it's always like 2 or 3 guys just kind of come there and just like dominate the whole conversation. And they say, you have to use this service. You have to. None of them else are any good. People say, I've heard this one's good, that one. They say, no, stop. It has to be this one, no matter where you go. And I'm just thinking, well, are you really a business owner, or are you just a full-time employee just posting here and here and here and here? So that's not something that I want to be. And then we have people who they feel like they have to almost like get halfway to death in order to do anything. In order to make a video, make a book, make an article, make a blog post, and they don't like when Lance and I say stuff like, well, we recorded a podcast episode in 10 minutes in one take. They don't like when I say that I sat down, whipped out a blog post and sent it out, and it was as good as if I'd spent all week on it. They have this whatever mental block that they have to suffer, that they have to hurt. And so there's all these other people out there who, I don't wish any harm on them or anything bad on them, but people who are just basically doing things wrong, right? They're putting themselves out there in a very wrong way. They want to become a bestseller, on like number one New York Times kind of deal. They want to get on all these radio stations. They want to get on all TV so that they can become a household name, so that they can sell these, $10,000 per seat workshops and make $1 million, and then take a break for 5 years until they run out of money and start the whole process over again. And I'm thinking, well, are you trying to build a business, or are you just trying to be a celebrity? Because I don't know about you, but I'd rather have money than be famous. Because how many famous people have you heard of where they do great and then one bad thing happens and now they're running out of money, right? So instead of doing this roller coaster, instead of doing all these fancy social media busybody tricks or all these fancy things with the purple button, I'd rather just do what I want to do, and I'd rather just take these actions to build a list, to make more sales, and to get more connections and more partners and things like that, so I can rise above all these competitors, all these people who are here today, gone tomorrow, and outlast them and outgrow them and make more money to them. And it's easy to get ignored or copied or passed over or forgotten about, or even kind of your business, is growing and growing and growing, and then kind of stalls out and levels off. Where's my pen? Goes up, levels off, drops, and sometimes it happens almost overnight, especially if your business relies on a loophole, something with Google, something with Facebook. Boom, it's gone. And what we're going to be talking about today is something where you all needed it 10 years ago. You'll still need it in 5 or 10 years, and the good news is that it's easier than ever to actually do these things, like get a book out there. And a big reason for that is Amazon is fighting with all these publishers, because they're fighting with these people who think about things differently than them. And Amazon would love for you to self-publish a book out there, make a bunch of sales, make even more sales than you would have by going through a print publisher, but you save yourself a couple of years, you save yourself thousands of hours of going back and forth, and you can even do it today. And if you want to take a little bit longer, you could even do it this weekend. And it's all about just creating a dang book. And I know that for some of you, a book is so dang scary. Like Lance said a few minutes ago, he hates writing. We don't want you to write a book. We want you to instead create a book, and there is a difference, and there are a couple of easy shortcuts that we've been using for I don't even know how many years now to make book after article after blog post after manual, all these things, and have fun doing it. Because what the heck is the point of being self-employed, working for yourself, creating your destiny, if you can't have fun doing it? And yeah, I mean, I know that it's scary at first, and you know what too? I've just something kind of a little timely to share with you is that last night, and this was literally last night. Okay, let me back up. I have a book on Amazon. I think I have 6. I'm about to put number 7 out there. This book called Double Agent Marketing. I've sent a few copies out to people, so some of you might have this. But basically, last night someone posted like the weirdest freaking review on Amazon. And isn't that something we're all kind of in a way afraid of? Like, well, what if I put this thing out there and everyone hates it, and what the heck, and everyone will say I'm terrible, and no one will ever buy from me ever again. Well, I don't know if you guys can understand what this review says. He said the sales pitch page: if this guy's training worth, learn why the book, then $47 for the first 30 days for $47,000 value, given him 0.001% of your profit on the back end. You should give him at least 0.0002%, $96. Whatever that means. I don't know if she says that I don't deserve 0.1%, I deserve 0.2%. Either way, I mean, I wasn't, it didn't ruin my day, but I was just like, is this spam, or is this, I mean, this person's, reviewed other stuff, but this is what we're always afraid of, right? We put our stuff out there, and not just to our own niche, like if you're in weight loss, real estate, internet marketing, whatever. We're afraid that if we put our stuff out there to the mass market, no one will get it. And we'll come across, like, who is this? Like Lassie and Timmy, I guess, saying stuff like, where's the beef? Don't get scroogled. Like, this person just, like, can't appreciate anything, right? So this person left me a really kind of a bad review, and I reported it, and we'll see what Amazon has to say. But then I said, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my own people there to fight them, right? I mean, that's kind of more interesting, right? Instead of, oh, we'll put out stuff out there on the internet and sing Kumbaya around the campfire, let's send our own soldiers to fight the other soldiers. So people are saying like, are you drunk? This person leaves poor reviews. Your comment's coherent. So good. So now, if someone found this review, they'd say, well, you know what? The smart people kind of outshouted them. And so what I did, so this was, yeah, this was last night. And so I sent one email. I posted on Facebook once, and I said, "Well, can you buy my book for free, basically? Because you can set this to go out there for free. Right now, it's $0, 0 cents, and leave a review." And so I got all these reviews from people like Matt Basak is in here. He's a famous internet marketer, and all these cool reviews. And these all happened, overnight. And so now we have 21 reviews of this book, and so now this book is ranked. This is the top 700 book, and there are I think like 2 million books on Kindle, and this is number 4 in a category. And these are all actual reviews. You can see each of these people actually, bought the book, downloaded the book before leaving the review. So pretty cool how that works, where we can use it both ways, right? We're all afraid of putting something out there and everyone hates it, but we can send our own people to fight the hate. It's like this kind of battle between good and evil, right? So once you have a book out there, you have all these, possibilities open for you. I mean, you can give away free copies. You can go into, and we know some people who do these things like local SEO for businesses. Like they go to a local dentist office and say, well, I can get you boosted in the Google rankings. I can get you more business for your practice. By the way, here I'm going to leave my book here explaining what it is I do. Way better than the business card. No one's going to throw away a book. And then when you follow up with them, maybe they even just flip through your book. And even if they haven't, you're the person out there who has the book. So we're going to fix some easy things today. And here are those things right now. And let me fix something with my... okay, that's good. All right. So we're going to talk about why even have a dang book, what should the dang book be about, how do I write the dang book, how do I get the dang book online, and now once it's online, because everyone forgets this part, how do I promote that dang book, because everyone is so concerned with getting the spell checking just right and getting at least 500 people to go through and edit it and change it, and let me add a couple things I forgot, and they stop either here or they stop either here. They stop and they don't put the book online, or once it's online, they kind of let it sit. And Lance and I want you to get to this point as fast as possible. That way you can start playing around with things and you can start having fun with your business and you can start doing things like getting it filled up with reviews, like seeing how you can rank it, like seeing how you can bundle this with your courses, all those different things. And so there is a method to our madness. And if you look at how I've kind of I made each of these like a red kind of color. Well, this is always our thought process, right? This whole thing called why, what, how, what if. And you might have heard of this thing called WWHW, and this is just like I think they use this a lot in like middle school and high school English classes, and it's been passed around and copied so many times that literally no one knows where this came from, who invented this, but everything that no matter how we try to like rebrand it, reorganize it, it always comes down to this whole thing called why, what, how to, what if. So if you remember that for right now, WWHW, why, what, how to, what if, this will come into play in a few minutes as we kind of get kicking and going. And so, I mean, the internet's kind of a weird place. I mean, can we kind of admit that? Is that all these crazy things happen and all these crazy things change. And even if you think about, so this was what, 75 years ago? In 1939, the New York Times predicted that television would fail because people wouldn't have time to stop and stare at a screen. So funny how that is, and now when there's internet, people will stare at a screen for 5-10 hours at a time. But if that didn't exist, people said, there's no way. Everyone's always on the go. They're like eating dinner. They're, plowing the fields in that farm. They're not going to watch TV. Well, you don't know until you try. The founder of Match.com lost his girlfriend to a man she met on Match.com. You can't make this stuff up, right? This is a woman in South Korea, and she makes $9,000 a month. And all she does is she has like a web camera on her computer, and she eats food in front of the computer screen. and that's all she does. And people who subscribe to this paid service are people who are, like dieting, and they kind of like just want to like see her eat this food and live vicariously, or people who are don't have that much money to have food. They'll pay for, ironically, they'll pay for this service where she will just eat all of her meals in front of the computer, 9 grand a month, doing nothing else but just eating food in front of the computer. So I mean, the internet's a really weird place, and there's lots of weird, crazy ways to make money, and there's plenty of room out there for you to also have a book. And so, I mean, why need a book? Well, you might have heard people say, well, if you come up with a book, you'll be the authority. And if I'm looking at two people, and one's just like you, and one has, websites and blogs or whatever that you have stuff for sale, and they have a book and you don't, and that's the only difference, well then guess who I'm going with? I'm going with the person with the book. So you might have heard people say, well, you'll be the authority, and I guess that's true. Or they might say things like, well, if you go to, like a conference, or you want to start, networking with someone, are you going to send them your business card in the mail, or are you going to send them a book in the mail? And they might read it, they might flip through it, but even if they don't, that's still a way better business card than a business card. So I mean, I agree with that. People say, well, if you have a book on stock market trading, and that's your niche. If you have a book on organic gardening, then you wrote the book on it. Then you're way more you're more high profile than people who didn't. Like, that works for me. And even if someone else wrote a book on it and their book came out 5 years ago and yours came out this year, you seem more timely. And they might say things like, well, now you're unique and you can be in more than one place, and that this will get you, on stage and on the radio, and that's all good stuff. I mean, having a book, even though it might be scary at first, or you might be thinking, well, how can I write a whole dang book? Just putting that aside just for a second, it does open up a lot of doors for you, right? So why do I not like a lot of these people who say you can have a book? Well, because I look up their name, and even just on Amazon, and they themselves don't have a book. They'll brag about, well, I can get you published, I can get you ranked, but if it's that easy, then why don't you have a book? And then I start thinking, well, so what you want me to do is you want me to put in 6 months, you want me to put in a year of all this work, and then you can just go in and put your name on it and take all this credit for it. It doesn't really sound like something that I want. So what if there's a way to bypass these publisher type of guys, and what if there's a way to do it in an hour, not a year? Now, the big reason why I want to do this fast is because, I don't know about you, but I like making money, and we all have a limited amount of money, and I don't want to take time away from money making activities into stuff that doesn't make money. It's more about traffic, leads, and sales. So when I list stuff on Amazon, when I list stuff on iTunes, Google, Facebook, do retargeting, I'm really looking for traffic. I'm looking for more eyeballs on my stuff to get more people to my website. And once they get to my website, I want them on a list, and I want these people who are hungry for my solution. If I'm selling a course on webinars, if I'm selling a course on podcasting, if I'm selling a course on WordPress, on sales letters, on membership sites, I want a bunch of people who are ready for a membership site. And if not, then to educate them to the point where they're ready to buy from me. But I want all these, red hot, starving, hungry people ready to get my stuff. And what that means is they didn't just come to my site on accident. They were looking for the answer to a real problem. If I go on Amazon.com and I go and I search for something like weight loss, right? So I search weight loss. I'm not just going there for my health. I'm looking to like solve a problem. And I might see there's like different, pills and stuff. And I say, well, if I just want to find like a book on weight loss. Well, there you go. And it's funny how I didn't even realize this. I searched for weight loss, and obviously this person at the top, I mean, this is a homemade looking book, right? This isn't like a professionally done publisher. Even like these couple, and maybe number 4, this looks more like it was put down like a Simon and Schuster type, or even a couple of these. But it's funny how we search for weight loss, and not even just just in all of the books on Amazon. I just now realized this. The top 3 are self-published, or at least they look self-published, right? Like this. I mean, this is not a professionally made cover, but number 1 result on weight loss, 47 pages, proves my point even more that it doesn't have to be the best looking cover, doesn't have to be the longest book. I mean, maybe even just the fact that it's short made them skip over all these other, people I'll skip over like the Jillian Michaels types just to get to the meat of it. So kind of funny how it is just now to discover that. But anyway, that's all good. That's all good to have stuff on Amazon and have it listed and ranked. But what I really want are sales, right? I really want to solve people's problems in a sexier way, in an easier, faster, shorter way than anyone else. And I mean, someone might be on here and they might be looking for like, well, like, did the Biggest Loser people write a book? Or did some bodybuilder write a book? And if they find me instead, I'm gonna catch the runoff. If only like 1% of people searching for the Biggest Loser way of losing weight find this book, well then there you go. That's a whole like more than a full-time income. So I want traffic, leads, and sales. And people always geek out over, backlinks or rankings or clicks or things like that. But at the end of the day, this is what it comes down to: is I need to find these higher traffic sites like Amazon that list me, so that they send these qualified prospects to me, and maybe they get my book, get on my list, but eventually I want them to buy something from me. And I mean, the harsh reality of all this is people don't think that far ahead. They say, well, you know what, I've got this big ego, I'm kind of vain, I'd like my name on a book, and they don't think any further than that. So they see finishing the book as the finish line. And so they say, all right, and so instead it should be like, we'll finish the book, and then we'll make the site, and then we'll make like a workshop, and then we'll have like a course, and then we'll have like an email list and all this stuff. There's all these things to be done, but instead they think that the book is the end, so they go, well, let me just kind of creep towards, and almost get to the book being done, but they make it take so much longer because they think because they're afraid, honestly, and they say, well, once the book's done, what's then? They don't have this other plan of what to do after that. So they take too long on a book, never finish it, or even worse is maybe something's already making money. Maybe they're already selling a home study course online or a DVD course, and they say, I'm going to stop promoting this because what's more important is the book. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be on Oprah's channel, right? I'm going to be on Dr. Oz. I'm going to be on Good Morning America, and I'm going to finish the book so I can be famous. And then they may have something that's making $1,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month goes to zero because they're spending time on the book. And then what? And then the book's done, and they say, well, all right, I'm ready. All right, I want to be on what's it called? Not Regis and Kelly, but Kelly and whoever show is it now. I want to be on TV. Where's my money? And the problem is, well, you're not the only person who wrote a book. Now you actually have to promote it. And being on radio, being on TV isn't going to get you the money that building a list is going to get you. So my biggest secret to avoid all that heartache, to avoid, like losing out on this money making stuff, is to just do it quickly. And my question to you is, how does getting it done in 59 minutes sound? So maybe you'll take like 5 or 10 minutes just to figure out what the book will be about. But when it comes down to generating even just 20 or 30 pages, and then if you happen to be the kind of person like me, like I like to put in screenshots in my books, maybe you'll have 40 pages, but that's all done in an hour. Well, you don't type it out, you speak it out, and then spend about $20 to get someone to type it out for you, and then maybe spend another $20 to edit it, but you don't even have to. But an hour to go from I've got a rough kind of an outline to now I'm going to generate the whole thing and I'll be done with it. That sounds pretty cool, right? And so the big thing about that, here's a point I kind of want to make to you, all right? See this screenshot right here of the site? This is Google. This is what Google looked like 20 years ago. It's pretty similar, but it looks like, I mean, I bet you like Lance's son could make a better site like this right now, right? Here's another site, and I've kind of blocked it out and put it in the question box and tell me if you can figure out what site we're looking at in the top right corner here. All right? Here's a couple hints for you. There's blue all over the place. It says Harvard University, talks about like your social network. All right, there you go. You got it. This is Facebook. All right, this is the first version of Facebook. Looks like crap, right? Looks like a GeoCities website. How about this one? All right, this one's easy, but it's a little tougher. So here's this thing, and they say there's 1 million book titles here, different categories, ugly gray background. Here we go. Chris got it. This site is Amazon.com. This was the first iteration of Amazon's website. All right, and you wouldn't even know it. But here's the thing: is that they started off with just something, and then they just made tiny little incremental improvements to make it better. All right, last one. How about this? I mean, you see in the bottom right corner, you see this site. This is kind of going to be a tough one, but it's like some news site, but it's like it looks like it was made on like Microsoft front page. I mean, maybe it was made by like a high school student. People are, I guess, in CNN. You're close. It's actually the New York Times. In 1996, New York Times looked like this, with like different colors of stuff, text too big, pictures looked weird. The very first version of the New York Times. People are saying like, wow, and they're kind of like weirded out just because I mean, if Facebook, New York Times, Amazon, and Google looked like this when they started out, I'm pretty sure it's okay for your book to look kind of not quite perfect. And then you can go back and make it a little bit better. So the good thing about having a book, especially by putting it on Amazon, is you can publish a book without a cover. Now imagine that, because we always think about, oh, well, if I have a publisher, I've got to go to like a professional artist and pay them $5,000, and they'll spend a month on it, and they'll give me 5 different versions. Well, no, on Amazon, you can put a book on there without a cover. I think I even have a book like that. Let's see, Robert Plank. I'll look at my other books here. So you see how there's this list, traffic, and offers book. I don't even remember what was in this one, but I just put it up without a cover. And sure, this kind of looks like Google in 1997, but it's still better than nothing. And I can go back and I can make the cover better. I can put my own cover right there for $5 if I want to. So when you publish to Amazon, you don't have to talk to anyone. No one has to, well, I guess they do have someone approve you, but I mean, you always get approved unless you like have something crazy. But you can change the price later. Honestly, this delayed me a year or two from being on Amazon because I was like, once the book's published, it's in their hands, I can't even touch it. Well, actually, they want you to tweak things around. That's why they want you to, do discounts and increase the price and do all these things. You can change the price later. You can say for now it's $2, next week it's $10. You can do that. If you notice like a misspelling, or you want to do like a second edition or take stuff out or add stuff in, you can re-upload a revised version, a spell check version. And to be honest, what I usually do is I take the raw transcript from when I spoke out a book and I put it on there as is, and then once it's live on Amazon, then I'll go back and spell check and upload again, just because you can do that. I mean, you can upload a new version like every other day if you want, and keep fixing it up as you make it better. So you can change anything that you want once it's on Amazon. You can change the title, put up a new cover, change like the listing, the description, any of that stuff. It's all undoable. So I mean, relax, because you can just put it out there and just think about New York Times, Amazon. They weren't perfect. You don't have to be. And I mean, I know it seems silly, and maybe I'm alone here, but once again, I delayed putting a book on Amazon for years because I was worried that, well, what if I put it at a certain price and I don't like that price? What if I put the book on there and I want to change some stuff? Well, I can't. Well, actually, you can. It just takes about a day or two for their system to approve you, but then it's all rolled out, it's all on there. So if you have the Kindle book, which is the digital version, and people buy your Kindle book and they download it to they can either read it on their computer or on their phone or on their tablet. Once you update that book, it'll download the latest and greatest version of that book and then change it right there on their tablet. So even if things aren't perfect, you find one little typo, you re-upload it, and it's all good. So I mean, that part's taken care of, all right? So now the only issue is, well, all right, I keep saying this thing like you can have a book in 59 minutes and have a book where the content's done, then you upload, and literally you upload a Word document to Amazon, answer, I want to see maybe like 10 questions, and then you'll be on Kindle. And these are questions like, well, what's the title? Well, what's your name as the author? Well, what's a little blurb about it? So when I go and find the book on Amazon, what is this? And look at this one. This one is only 3 sentences. I took kind of a shortcut on that one. But even with that, this book without a cover, hardly even says what it is. I need to go back and update this one. Even this book is number 3 in the direct marketing category. Kind of interesting how that works out, where even if you kind of half-ass it, it's still okay. And then the other ones, like, so let's see, if we go to Double Agent Marketing, and then there's this 100 Time Savers. So these are running promotions right now, but this one's number 4 in entrepreneurship. I have another book called 100 Time Savers. This one is number one in skills and in office skills. Not really sure what those mean, but now technically I'm a bestseller in these categories. When you hear about these guys saying, "Well, I was number one Amazon bestseller," they don't mean in the whole dang story. Even though this one's kind of getting close, top 300 now or top 400. If you're number one in a category, now you can say, okay, I was number one in this Amazon category, so there you go. So it's not that difficult. It's not like climbing the New York Times bestseller list. So the thing about all of this, though, is you need to have a book first before you can do anything, and it doesn't involve hiring a ghostwriter. Doesn't involve, grabbing like Sherlock Holmes books or Mark Twain books. Doesn't involve buying up rights from someone else, so now you have the same book as 100 other people. It doesn't involve putting together free information or spinning stuff or even some of this like drag and dictate software. None of this stuff. And you know what? You know how Lance always say marketers, right? If some jerk is claiming $100 million and we know it's really $100,000 and we know he's padded his numbers, we say marketers because they're always trying to be the evil villain. They're trying to be Darth Vader. They're trying to be Dr. Evil. They're trying to be the James Bond villain, and they're trying to find the loophole. And it's like, well, what if you just, for once, just try to do things in a straightforward way? So my thought process here is that, well, once you have a Word document made, and you know what too, even if you don't have Microsoft Word, you know this thing here called Google Drive, you can just point your web browser to google.com/drive, and you can actually type in a book right here in your web browser. And then once it's done, you can do like a file, download as a Microsoft Word file, or as a web page, or as a PDF. So making the book, I mean, there's no more excuses, even if you don't have the software, even if you're, just have like a Chromebook, or you're on the road, or have a netbook, you can still make the dang book or edit it. So once you have this, if you have my checklist, which says go to this site on Amazon, fill this in, fill this in, fill this in. If you use my template, which is just paste this into this empty Word document so that you have the margins, the header, the footer, the table of contents, all this stuff, then you don't have to worry about all the nerdy, where are the margins and what are these inches in the gutter. Just submit it to Amazon, and if you decide to even change stuff, you can update it. All right. If you're worried about cranking out the content, there are a couple of mind state tricks to get in the groove, and a big one is speaking instead of typing. Another one is there's a special way we do structure, which I'll get to in a couple minutes. And how about this? Then we just get right to that. Is that I don't know. It's like I don't want to generalize people, but Lance and I see so many people where they want to make like a 10-volume set of books, or they want to make a 500-page book. Or they just kind of say, don't worry about this, I got it. I'll just start speaking some stuff out, and whatever happens, happens, and when I get to a good stopping point, I'll be done. Trust me, I got it. And then we come back a month later, and they didn't even start. So you do need some kind of a structure, and I mean, I know what I'm talking about because I've made books over and over again, and these are a couple of my books. And so this one, let me just like get the marker again. This one took an hour, right? This is one that's about 30 pages. 100 Time Savers, this one took about 90 minutes to speak out. I spoke this out years and years ago and then found the recording years later and put that on and got it transcribed. And I kind of sandwiched it in between some blog posts. This one was a set of like calls I did, like live calls for information product, kind of put those together. I think honestly, this one was about like maybe 6 hours, but I edited it down a lot, and I was just reusing something I'd already made money from. And this one was an interview book. And so, I mean, how long should a book really be? Well, I say for starters, just get your 30-page book out there for your 1 hour. If you have another hour, then you can double the size. But even if it's just 30, 60 pages, if we're just thinking of this in terms of, I'm not planning on climbing the New York Times bestseller list. I'm going to be using this as a business card. I'm going to be using this as a way for people to find me. We don't want to give them 500 pages. We don't want some big, thick thing that nobody will read. So 30, 60 pages, and just for starters, just the easy answer, 1 hour, 30 pages, let's get to it, all right? Just 20 or 30 pages. So question. You know these movies like Star Wars, The Matrix, Jaws, Batman, Spider-Man, Lord of the Rings, Transformers? Well, what do they all have in common besides they made hundreds and millions and billions of dollars? Well, the thing is, they all use like this thing called a 3-act structure, and even with them, within that, there's like a special like 12-step sequence. And I don't want to get into that, but if you just think about, well, isn't kind of Isn't the Matrix kind of like Star Wars? Isn't like Keanu Reeves kind of like Luke Skywalker, and they kind of like go through all this stuff and all these failures, and he goes through the training process, and at the end it all kind of works out. Well, they all use the same structure, and that's fine. And you know what? I mean, you can always see similarities between like Batman, Star Wars, The Matrix, all this stuff. Um, but they have their own unique kind of things. But all these movies that don't follow the structure are the ones that bomb, the ones that you never hear about, or the ones that are like the cult classics, or just the weird ones, right? But the big blockbusters nowadays, all of them, they all use the same template, the same structure. So what you can take away from that kind of lesson there is that we use that as a guide, and you live within that framework, and then you're creative within those limitations. So let me explain, because I know, like, well, wait a second, you're talking about movies, now you're talking about books. The point is that if I said you got to have a book that's like exactly 7 chapters, well, then now, instead of worrying about should this be 2 chapters or 200 chapters? Now you say, okay, now this is starting to come together. Now it's up to me to decide what is in those 7 chapters. I'm removing some of the decisions you have to make. All right, so that makes sense? Cool. So the way this applies to you is, we'll just do this, is first of all, you go and research the competition, look at Amazon, check out what titles and covers and colors are out there. You check out the commonalities, see what they all have in common, because, I mean, it's not like all the stock trading, all the internet marketing, all the weight loss books have been made. There will be more forever. There will always be more. There's probably like one a day coming out. So you can have your own unique spin on it. You can build a better mousetrap. And so here's what I want you to do. And I can't believe that Lance is probably pissed off that I'm starting to explain some part of our process, but list 10 things that someone needs to get from where they are to where they want to go. Narrow them down to 7, because there's this weird thing where if you tell your brain to think of 7 things, it'll think of like, 3 or 4 good things and the rest just suck. But if you ask your brain for 10 things, it'll think of 7 good things and 3 that kind of suck. So you just throw out the 3 that suck. Kind of funny how that works out. You rearrange those 7 items in a logical step-by-step order, and then we break down each of these 7 items into why, what, how to, what if. Remember how I said that's going to come back into play? So if we talk about, and if we're making like some weight loss book, and we talk about, I mean, let's just say about like exercise, right? Well, then, you can break down I don't like to call it chapters, but let's say chapter or section into, well, why should you exercise? And here are all the benefits. What kind of things can you do to exercise? Here's how to actually do those things. And now what if you do those? Now what's next, or what is I guess the homework assignment? What are you going to do now that you have this knowledge? So kind of funny how this plays out, where if you made the movie Jaws and it didn't follow this exact structure, it wouldn't be as good of a movie. So the same way, you make these book chapters, which start off with, why is this thing important? What are you going to do? How do you do it? And now, what if you do this? What's the next step? You'll capture all these people that you wouldn't have got before, because some people just want the how-to in there, so that's in there. But some people like need it in context. Some people need to know what you're going to do first, so it all makes sense. Some people want to know, well, convince me to why I should even be doing this. And you don't want to just leave them hanging. You don't want to just say, well, here's how to do it. Now transition me into how can I actually take action on this, okay? So, I mean, I know that we're kind of running a little long on time, but let's do it really quick. If you have a niche out there where you're thinking about making a book, put it in the question box. I'll give you about 5 seconds to do that, so hurry, hurry, hurry. And if not, we've been talking about weight loss, so I'll just kind of think on my feet here and figure out what we're going to do. So here's what you do is you'd say, I'm on Amazon, and maybe you're like a weight loss consultant, so we have someone else say self-confidence, debt elimination. So let's, you know what, how about that? Let's go crazy. Let's do debt elimination. And yes, I am kind of thinking of some stuff on my own here on my feet. So we say, all right, maybe you're like some kind of like a debt counselor, or you have some kind of a service or whatever. But either way, you want to make a book on eliminating your debt. So here's what you do. You go through and you'd look at like the top ones. And what we're doing is we're looking at a couple of things. Looking at what colors are these all using. Do any of these have like pictures of people, or are they more cartoonish? And they look like they're more like stock photo-ish. There's a lot of blue, I guess, but not a ton. And I kind of like how we get some ideas like this, like erasing with the pencil. So we're going through and we're going to see, because a lot of these will show you their table of contents. I don't think this one is, so we don't want that one. Let's open up this one. Oh, great. There we go. So here we have this table of contents. Redesign your life, pay off your debt, build your wealth. Okay. We'll go with this other one and we'll see if there's table of contents here. We've got debt free, the first thing, not your bills, and let's try to find another table of contents in here. So we're not going to like buy these books, or we're not going to go too crazy, but I just want to see, let's see, maybe the print book, nope. I just want to see like what topics they cover, because I don't want to look too closely and I don't want to, copy anyone, but I do want to cover the things that are the most important. So we go through, so this person doesn't have a table of contents either. No, that's not going to work. All right, so we got a couple of ideas. Let me try to open up like one other one. Get out of debt fast. Okay. So we open this. Cool. This is what I was looking for. Is a lot of stuff. So like paying off your mortgage, crushing your debt quickly, the quickest path to wealth. So now we're getting some ideas on, well, if someone gets this book, they're in debt. They got in debt in a certain way, we want to get out of debt. So let's just kind of list, and we're looking for 10 different things. So I say, 10 things, or what are 10 things that I need to get out of debt? Okay, so we had some, let's see, is there, making a numbered list. Okay, so first there was I saw some stuff like, having a budget. There were things like the mindset stuff, like before you start paying your debt, right? Some mindset, how to handle bills, so like this debt snowball method, debt relief, so like debt relief alternatives. All right. I saw like there's things like paying off versus paying down, paying off your mortgage, right? Paying down. I saw there was like wealth creation, so it's like once you have your debt paid off, how do you get yourself, in a better way, like that? And then we can say planned spending. So how about that? Like spending and investing, stuff like that. So we're at 7. We want 10. So let's see. There's like assess where you are. I guess that could work. Assess where you are. We need 2 more. So we go and find so like a chart or a system, or like I guess the dream board thing, that kind of mindset and dream board. So even if you do, and I mean, I'm assuming that if you're making a book on debt elimination or debt reduction, you already know these things, but it's like one of those things where if we're the expert, we miss the simplest things that everyone wants. Money saving tips. All right, there's like tips and like a system, right? So like, put this in here, money saving tips and a system, and then like how to do it quickly. All right, how about that? Like how to speed it up or do it quickly. So you can see how this was just from me, like, poking around, checking out these different table of contents here. So we thought of 10 things. We want to reduce to 7, just so that way we have 7 like really good chapters. Nothing is fluff. Nothing's extra, right? So we can say, all right, let me go through in here and let me combine assess where you are in budget. Okay, so some of these we can just delete, and some of these we can combine. So how to handle bills, paying off versus paying down. So I kind of want to have the system somewhere earlier on, right? And then I want to have wealth creation last. And so we can kind of play with this, because we could have this in a logical step-by-step order, or kind of throw something in there a little early and then give them something else and kind of, come back to it later. So we'll say how to handle bills and paying off versus paying down. So I kind of want to put the handling bills before the other stuff, all right? And then we need to either delete one of these or combine. So I kind of want to say, or combine wealth creation and speed it up, right? And how to speed it up. So we thought of 10. Why? Because I said so, because you had to. I reduced it to 7. Why? Because I said so, because you had to. And then we kind of see like, well, should we rearrange these anymore? So start off with the budget, mindset, how to handle bills. Kind of what to put in the mindset after. Uh, the system, alternatives, investing, wealth creation. So cool. It kind of takes them from this crappy place to the place they want to be. So now, isn't this a way better outline than if you just thought of stuff like, well, here's how to have a budget, or here's how you got into it. Now we're kind of getting into problem solving, taking them from point A to point B. And then from this, we don't have time for this part, but what we would do is we'd split up these things into WWHW. So for example, for the mindset stuff, well, we'd maybe, is there like an indentation? We'd say stuff like, well, why is having a good mindset important? What can I do to have a better mindset? So this is, remember, this is the overview. Then we say, how can I have a better mindset? This is the step-by-step. And then we can say, what if I have this good mindset? And now we can take some action. So pretty cool how we can, just by having the right system, now we went from writer's block to now it's almost flowing out of us. So we set it 59 minutes, and what we can do is if we speak for about an hour, it's about 9,000 words, which is about 20 or 30 pages, which you have it in like that, the book size of page. So if we have 7 of these sections or chapters, you only have to speak for 8 minutes per section, and we cut them up to WWHW. Now you only have to talk for 2 minutes per talking point. So, I mean, let me just show you like how fast it is. I'm just going to have this in the corner here. 2 minutes is nothing, all right? 2 minutes goes by like almost nothing. So you speak it out, and then you're done. You finish it off when the timer runs out, and the result is that you crammed all this good stuff. And obviously, you're not going to be able to cover every single base, but you put it into a really compact, concise, helpful, fast, and easy guide. You've spoken it out, and you just have to get it recorded now so that someone can transcribe it. Someone else that you pay a little bit of money can listen to it and type it out. So this guy, you probably have never heard or seen of him, but he says, the very first company I started failed with a great bang. The second one failed a little bit less, still failed. The third one really failed, but I recovered. Number 4 didn't fail, but it just kind of did okay. And then he said, well, the 5th one was PayPal. So it doesn't even matter what he went through, as long as at the finish line he created PayPal. I mean, there you go. Now he's set. So here's the thing. Why have a dang book? Because you can, rise above those competitors. What should a dang book be about? Something everyone wants that can tie into your existing business. How do you write the dang book? Figure out the structure, apply our system, speak it out, how to get it online, put it in a Word document, give it to Amazon, and then once it's online, promote that dang book. Remember, WWHW. So here's the thing, is I have a template you can plug in. I have a way of hiring the right person for the job. This system's been debugged, idiot-proofed over the last few years. It accounts for human error. It's fast and inexpensive. I heard someone the other day saying that he couldn't transcribe his 1-hour podcast because it would cost hundreds of dollars. Well, you know what? This system will do $20 for 1 audio hour. So you speak out your 2 minutes at a time, your 8 minutes per section. You just have one 59-minute recording. $20, you have a book. Is that worth it? I mean, I think it's worth $20 to have a freaking book. And if you decide that you want to make it a little bit better, see, 2 minutes are already gone. See how fast that went? Want to make it a little bit better, another $20 to clean it up. And if you want to have a cover, you don't have to, but if you want it, $5 to have a cover created. So it makes a lot more sense for me, and I hope for you, to publish it yourself. And the big aha for me is one time I heard the guy who made the chicken soup books, Mark Victor Hansen, said that when he went through a traditional publisher, his book editor was able to buy a helicopter, and he doesn't have a helicopter, so his editor made more money than him of his own books. He said it makes more sense nowadays to get self-published. But you don't want to spend all year on it. Don't spend more than an afternoon on it, because Lance and I want you to get back to marketing, get back to building a list, get back to joint venturing and making the new connections and going through all these new doors that the book opens for you. Not to be in a bookstore and sign some books, but if you have a book, then you can get these extra affiliates. If you have a book, you can get these extra, interviews and podcast interviews and have people, make a product with you or recommend you or whatever, but whatever it is you want, as much or as little. So you can get back to making money and get to the fun stuff like marketing your book. Just like how, when let me close all this debt stuff. When I put out that double agent marketing book and we had to clean up the interviews, or even like Lance's book. This is Lance's book called Income Machine, and so we've got all these other reviews for it. Now here's what's really cool. Other than Lance is the best, but if we, I think I have to refresh this, as you can kind of almost course correct, because if we go through somewhere in here, it shows what people highlighted. So when you have a Kindle book, you can highlight stuff, and we can see 90 people highlighted that people are looking for information or not to buy. And we can go and look at that page and see what the context is. So we're almost finding all these like quotations that Lance said, didn't even realize it, but if people, if 16 people liked this phrase, well then that might be something to look into and something to make another book about it, or go back when we make another pass on the book to increase that chapter, or to make a blog post or an article. So it's really cool how you can put out a book, people highlight passages in the book, and you say, whoa, these are the most popular passages in my own book. I had no idea. You only have to stay one step ahead of your first member. Cool. That's a quotable right there from Lance. So we can see what people liked about the book, and put in, we can put in anything we want. Like, I think somewhere in here we have like links to our websites. All kinds of new possibilities are opened up. Amazon lets you have every 90-day period have the book out there for free to get new people, get new reviews, and then it increases in the rankings. And then once it goes back to paid, you're still way high up in the rankings. You can send your email subscribers there, build a fan page, run Facebook ads, do the usual internet marketing stuff, get them back to your book just for one more way that you're talking to them. You could target serial reviewers, so if you see people who review books all the time, send them a free book, or tell them when the Kindle free day is up, and then they'll review your book as well. Buy copies for customers and speaking gigs, so all kinds of crazy stuff. But what if there was an easy point-and-click system to help you along? And it's pretty easy, and I use it on a daily basis to make books like 100 Time Savers, which took 90 minutes, Double Agent Marketing. I kind of combined a bunch of stuff. I have an interview book where all I did was I talked to different people, my friends basically, for 20 minutes, got their secrets, they did the work for me. A book that took me 60 minutes called Set Up a Point-and-Click Website. I edited Lance's book from his podcast, his blog post, and we even have a new book coming out that I can't really talk about just yet, but book number 7. And what I want for you is to be able to easily upload your Word document to Kindle to have the digital book, upload it to CreateSpace to have the physical book, and just publish a handful of short books to Amazon this year and next year so people can find you. And if you kind of only want to do 1 or 2, even just that is worth all the skipping over all the years it took me of trying to figure out the different sizes and how to do it and what to price it and kind of edit it. Instead, you have fun doing it, so you'll want to repeat it over and over again. Because Kindle is not going anywhere. It's now 6 years old. People are used to digital books. Most people own some kind of an e-reader. If not, they can still read books directly on a Mac or a PC. People don't always know that. And all it takes to become a published Amazon author is to fill out a short form and upload a Word document, and then that's it. You don't have to even talk or deal with anyone. You hit spell check later on, re-upload, it updates. You can get a cover made later, re-upload, it updates, and you just take these small baby steps. So the reasons you're not famous yet is because, well, it used to, supposedly took a long time and was too hard, or you had to get it edited, or you had to make a book cover, or you had to do with the ghostwriter, or even just kind of like me, I stumbled just there and I was like, well, maybe I'm not a very good speaker. Doesn't matter. You speak it out, you get it put in print, that's all good. Outsourcing a book always sounded really expensive, but if you have an hour, you have $20, now you have a book. If you have $5, now you have a book cover, and you can get 1,000 readers in one day. You take your Word document, put it on Kindle, $5 cover, do your promotions, list it on these free directories, put it on Facebook. So we just follow a system. So instead of fumbling around figuring out how they want it done, doing it a bunch of times, figuring out what does and doesn't work, instead I've removed the hard stuff so I can just do it quickly, easily, have fun doing it. And the system is all called Make a Product, where you can claim the unlimited free traffic you deserve. And the cool thing too is, think about this. If you can speak out a whole entire book, and I say entire book, a 1 hour, 30-page book, well, doesn't that mean that, say this one book chapter, you've just spoken out a blog post or an article, right? So now you can get that content out of the way and become an authority and a published author in just one afternoon. So this is push button free traffic, because get listed on Amazon, get listed on blogs and articles, free products, because now you have a book and you can use this to make a even higher priced product, and free money on demand, because now you've built a list, got traffic, get that list stuff, or your money back. And we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes as well. So this is called Make a Product 3.0. You get our training on how to make 6-minute and 3-minute articles, how to do reports, emails, audio products, how to dictate and manage your team, how to plan your best-selling book and cover, speak it out in an hour or less, hire an editor, and then promote it on Kindle and CreateSpace. And Lance and I have regularly put this out on Kindle, put this out on CreateSpace, and easily made over 1,000 readers and downloads of that book in a single day. So Make a Product 3.0, it's got all that training on how to get your book made, edited, put on Kindle and CreateSpace in just an hour. How to do articles, there's a community, there's challenges, there's interaction. We give you templates and stuff like that. So let me just kind of pull that out really quick. So what you would do is, once you become a member of our Make a Product system, you log in. And so if you have, for example, if you're looking for like ideas for stuff, for articles, check this out. You can go and log in. You can say, well, if my niche is fat loss, then I could come up with stuff like, what are the frequently asked questions about fat loss? What are your competitors talking about? How do I get started? If your niche is WordPress, then no problem. What are all these kinds of questions? If you're at the point where you're trying to make a cover, well, you just answer a few questions, and then we give you a template to copy and paste to the person that is going to make your cover, and you end up giving them all the exact formats and sizes, and then your customizations are right in there. If you want to hire a transcriptionist to take your audio and get it made, well, you just answer a couple of questions, like how many minutes of audio. If I have 60 minutes, we'll tell you what price to charge, what to fill out, and then this whole big thing down here is going to be the exact copy and paste to put into hiring the person that we've been using for years and years and years. So all kinds of templates right there. I throw in some articles that I've made and written, 550. There are lifetime replays for a total value today of $4,640. But here's the thing, is obviously it's not going to be $4,640, although I mean, to have this technology and to be able to put out a book and put out a couple of articles is easily worth $4,640. Because if you think about it, if this takes you from making $10K a year to making $14K a year by having a book, that's not unreasonable at all. It takes you from 0 to 5K. It takes you from 100K to 104K. Either way, having a book opens up all these extra doors for you, but it's just $497 right now to get access to our Make a Product system. To have a book with your name on it, to dictate your next year's worth of articles in a day, because you can just dictate just a tiny piece at a time, to get even a handful of articles and blog posts, to have a digital book and a print book published, to get private label rights to 550 of articles that I've personally made, and you can use them any way you want, make a book out of them, put it on your blog, submit as articles, anything that you want, and just run everything on autopilot and repeat as often as you want. So if you wake up one morning and say, I'm going to write a book on this, well, you can, and you can have it done by that afternoon. And if you say, I need some money today, I'm going to charge people $1,000 a piece, $5,000 a piece to get their book made, even as a service to someone else, Easy, right? So all that cool stuff, all kinds of possibilities in Make a Product, but here's some even better news. It's not $497, it's just $197. You can claim that right now by going to makeaproduct.com. That's makeaproduct.com to get the all of the training we have on how to do all this stuff, to get the article crash course, accountability, interaction, community, our templates, just point and click, copy and paste, PLR articles, lifetime replays for a total value today of $15,777. Because don't let someone who gave up on their dreams talk you out of going after yours. Where you start is not as important as where you finish. Because 1% of people are rich, that means anyone can get rich. And if you have enemies, that's good. That means you've stood up for someone, something, sometime in your life. It's just $197 for a limited time. But how about this? Well, if money's the only issue, let's think about this. If someone says, all right, well, you know what? I know all these things make sense. I need a book. I need more traffic. Need more leads. Need more sales. I know that I can't do it on my own, or maybe I've tried. I know it's going to be a big waste of time to try to do trial and error. I want your system, your templates. 197, I just don't have that right now. Well, let's say that was the only issue, okay? Well, do you want to take it home today for just $39.95, right? Well, you can at megaproduct.com. It's just $197 or 5 easy payments of $39.95 spaced 31 days apart. So for just less than 40 bucks, less than the price of a nice dinner, you can get access to everything. You get access to our training on how to make a book, on how to make the articles, all the point and click templates, and then in a month it'll be another 40 bucks until it's paid off. Once it's paid off, you have access to all this for life. And this is at megaproduct.com to get everything we talked about, templates, training, everything is included. So now here's the deal is you can get your book or your product created in an hour using my system, and then once the transcript comes back, and I mean that might take a day or two, or not too much longer than that, especially because it's very short, you can become a published author on Kindle and on CreateSpace, and either promote a service you do, promote a product you do, or heck, just put the book out there, and once the product's ready to go, edit the book, re-upload it, and now it all connects together. We know many people who have a virtual assistant take the course for them, so they don't want to have to, figure out any of this. Just virtual assistant, you figure this out, you figure out how to get the book outlined and spoken out, and then you deal with that. We know people who use this technology just for the editing part of it, just to make articles, just to like bring a blog back to life, or even as a done-for-you service to others. So they say, well, I'm going to take your Make a Product course, figure out how to do this outlining, this transcript stuff, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to charge people $5,000 up front, and then $100 a month to keep it going, just to have a book out there that I, take care of, and I manage the reviews, and I go and get it promoted, and it's all hands off for them. So I'm going to do some simple math here, all right? So without this system, well, if you were going to, even try to speak out a book and then get it transcribed, it would cost you about $120, and it wouldn't come back very well. It would take, and you'd have to do a lot more work from that. Without us, if you were going to make a blog post, how long does that take? A day if you're fast. Without us, if you were going to try to make a bunch of articles in a day, if you did 10 in a day, you're a machine, you're a monster. And the other problem is, without a lot of content, without having something to say, without a book, you got no credibility. But how about this? With us, to have that full book made, it's $20. Literally, every time that we get stuff transcribed, it's $20 just for one audio hour. With us, if you want to make a blog post, and I mean Lance knows this because Lance hates writing. Every time Lance needs to update his blog, if he has 3, 5, 10 minutes, that's all he needs for a very good sized blog post. So if you have 3 minutes free, if you want to use that time, in the morning before a shower, at night before bed, during a commercial break, while you're waiting for the kids at school, whatever, if you have 3 minutes, if that's a day, a week, a month, whatever, that's a blog post. Before, 1 to 10 articles a day was good, but I've done up to 100 articles in a single day. And if you want to just do part of that, if you want 50 articles, 1 a week, there you go. That's a nice little system to use. And now you're an established expert because, think about this. I don't know what people find if they search your name, but when they search my name, they find my blog, they find my podcast, they find all these articles, all these books, all the Amazon stuff. I'm all over the freaking place, and you should be too, especially if someone's looking to hire you or pay you money. They need to find your name all over the internet, and it's not that hard. You just have to have a few articles, maybe even a short book, and then now you dominate the first few pages, not just the first ranking, but pages and pages of Google results. And that's just one more way for people to find you. So go right now to makeaproduct.com, makeaproduct.com. Don't just write it down, but actually go there, because we're going to shut down this webinar. We're going to be kicked off this call in just a few short seconds. So go to www.makeaproduct.com. That's makeaproduct.com, and everything is explained inside of this course. What software we use to do the recording, how you plan out the recording, how you plan out the book. You saw a little glimpse of that with like the 10 to 7 WWHW, how we do all this. And in this course, I actually outline a book and speak it out and send it off and get it back and publish the whole dang thing inside of Make a Product. It's all explained for you right in there, not just generalities, not just PowerPoint bullets, but us actually doing it. And you can get in there for either one payment of $197 or 5 payments of $39.95. Either way, you get access to the same exact thing. It's just a matter of, do you want to pay it off all at once or pay it off over time? So that's at makeaproduct.com, and you can do all that stuff and get your book online, get your articles made, or your money back. Okay, so it's $197 or 5 payments of $39.95, and you can cancel at any time within 30 days. You can refund at any time within 30 days. The only catch, I mean, if you see this and you don't like it or you can't use it and you want your money back, no sweat, no questions asked, no problem at all. The only catch is that if you cancel or refund, you will lose access to our templates, our training, and our community. But I think that's only fair, because we want everyone to use this and publish not just one book, but tons of books over time, and do it fast, do it easy, have fun, make incremental changes, and you can do that, and you will do all that inside the members area of makeaproduct.com. So we're going to close this call down in about 10 seconds. All right, so get this down. Get it open in the browser, get ready to join, because I want you to have articles with your name on it. I want you to have books with your name on it. And even just to make it simple today, just one 30-page book. I know 30 pages sounds like a lot. Use our system. You look around what the marketplace needs, what you can do. Use our way of outlining it. Use our way of speaking it out in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and then boom, now you have a book. Upload that Word document to Kindle. We show you how. Upload that same document to CreateSpace. We show you how. Now you have a digital book. Now you have a physical book. And most people don't, even some of the famous ones. And now you're better than they are. So I want you to be better than they are. I want you to be the best in your niche. I want you to have your own category. And you can get that, and you'll do that right now by going to makeaproduct.com. So we're closing this down. It's done. It's over. This is Robert Plank from makeaproduct.com. I look forward to seeing you inside the members area of makeaproduct.com. I'm Robert Plank, and thank you.